They thought Earth was weak, that we were just another species to manipulate. But when 40,000 of our own were turned to ash, we didn't send diplomats. We sent a goddamn nightmare. The Galactic Council chamber was a cathedral of arrogance, floating platforms, crystal banners, and hollow words echoing through a hall where 117 species pretended peace was real. But today was different. Major Damien Kane walked in, dragging something that dripped blood across the polished floor. A severed head. Targeth. Cold. Lifeless. Eyes wide with frozen terror. 40,000, Kane said, his voice like a distant storm, calm but full of thunder. That's how many of ours you burned alive on Ganymede. He tossed the head onto the council floor, the sickening thud echoing through the chamber. You attacked our home? Now we're here to burn yours. 40,000 lives, Damien Kane said, his voice slicing through the sterile air of the Galactic Council chamber like a blade through silk. The severed Targeth head rolled across the marble floor, leaving a thin, dark trail that glistened under the holographic lights. The sound echoed in the vast chamber, where 117 species sat frozen in stunned silence. That's how many you burned alive on Ganymede, Kane continued, his tone calm, almost conversational, but there was a razor-edged menace coiled beneath. 40,000 souls. Families. Children. Ash now. His eyes swept across the council, lingering on those who dared meet his gaze. And you expect a negotiation? No one spoke. No one dared. I didn't come for diplomacy. He stepped forward, boots clicking with deliberate weight. I came to deliver consequences. High Chancellor Zather shifted in his elevated seat, his crystalline wings shimmering under the council's ethereal glow. His voice, normally commanding, wavered. Major Kane, surely. No. Kane's interruption was sharp, absolute. His cold stare pinned Zather like an insect on glass. Don't speak. Listen. Zather's mandibles clicked shut. You see, there's a misunderstanding here. Kane's lips curled into a grim smile, devoid of warmth. The Targeth didn't just attack a colony. They attacked Earth. His jaw clenched, and the air felt heavier. You don't come after our home and expect a damn discussion. He leaned forward, voice dropping low, but somehow, it carried across the entire chamber. When Earth bleeds, we don't send negotiators. We send extinction. A ripple of fear spread through the council. Whispers. Uneasy glances. Even the Varnix ambassador, a species known for feeding on fear, looked unnerved. Kane straightened, eyes narrowing. You think humans are unpredictable? Dangerous. You're not wrong. His expression hardened. But you've mistaken our patience for weakness. That ends today. Zather spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. Surely. Earth doesn't want war. Kane's smile was ice. War? He shook his head slowly. This isn't war. This. His gaze swept across the gathered leaders. This is a reckoning. A soft chime echoed through the hall. It was subtle, almost unnoticeable, unless you knew what to listen for. Kane did. And it's already begun. The council didn't realize it yet. But Kane saw the faint flicker in their communication links. Silent. Invisible. Your networks. He tilted his head, watching their realization dawn like a creeping shadow. They're already gone. High Chancellor Zather's eyes flared wide. What did you? Blackout protocol. Kane's tone was matter-of-fact, almost bored. Targeth Prime. Virus. The core sectors. All dark. Panic rippled across the chamber. Delegates scrambled to access their neural interfaces. Nothing. Silence. By the time I walked in here, Kane said softly, your fleets were blind. Your systems, compromised. Communications, gone. You're cut off. Impossible. A Drovian delegate hissed, his skin darkening with alarm. Kane's smile widened. You should know better by now. Nothing's impossible when Earth's involved. Zather's voice trembled. You crippled the galactic network? Crippled? Kane chuckled, the sound as cold as deep space. No. I didn't cripple it. I erased it. The chamber descended into chaos. Whispers turned to panicked murmurs. Fear clawed at the edges of their composure. Kane let it linger, savoring the weight of realization settling in. You can't. Zathar's voice cracked, desperation leaking through. You'll destabilize the entire galactic economy. That's the idea. Kane's eyes gleamed. You didn't just attack Ganymede. You attacked the foundation of everything Earth stands for. His voice was a low growl now. You took what was ours. Now we're taking everything. A holographic display flared to life in the center of the chamber. Targoth Prime. The once imposing world was in chaos. Fleets adrift. Cities plunged into darkness. Civil unrest spreading like wildfire. The backbone of the Targoth Collective was snapping in real time, and the galaxy was watching. Phase 1. Kane's voice was cold, calculated. Total collapse. This is madness. A Selvari delegate hissed, his gills flaring in panic. No. Kane's smile was grim. This is justice. Zathar's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of barely restrained panic. Earth can't control this. You'll destroy more than the Targoth. Good. Kane's eyes darkened. Let them burn. Silence followed. Thick. Suffocating. You think you control the galaxy? Kane murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. But you forgot something. The hologram shifted. More systems. More chaos. Worlds falling into silence. You forgot who taught you fear. Zathar's voice was barely audible. What do you want? Want? Kane's gaze hardened. We don't want anything. His expression was a mask of lethal calm. We're taking everything. His fingers brushed the interface on his wrist. Phase 2. The hologram pulsed. Neurogrids collapsing. Fleets turning on each other. Mimetic viruses spreading through Targoth systems, eating away at loyalty, fracturing chains of command. Psychological disassembly. Kane's voice was a whisper now, but it echoed louder than any shout. Your fleets don't know who to trust. Your commanders, they're already questioning their orders. A flicker of desperation flared in Zathar's eyes. You can't control this. Control? Kane's smile was wicked. I don't need control. His voice dropped lower, a predator's growl. I just need chaos. The council chamber felt colder, despite the glowing energy fields. And chaos, Kane murmured, is what humans do best. Zathar's composure cracked. You'll destabilize everything. Kane's grin was savage. You didn't leave us a choice. The display shifted once more. Targoth Prime was crumbling. Phase 3. Zathar's voice was a broken whisper. Please! Kane's smile vanished. The air grew heavier, thick with the weight of finality. Earth doesn't beg. His eyes locked on Zathar's. And we don't forget. One last command. Erase them. The display dimmed. Silence followed. Kane turned, his boots echoing through the chamber as he strode toward the exit. Consider this mercy, he said without looking back. No one moved. No one spoke. Next time. Kane's voice was quiet but sharp enough to cut through steel. There won't be one. They won't see it coming. Major Damien Kane's voice was a low growl as he stood in the command center, eyes locked on the holographic map of Targoth Prime. The system's defenses blinked like stars in the void, bright, interconnected, and vulnerable. Alara Vaz stood beside him, arms crossed, her expression razor-sharp. We're ready to initiate the next phase. Her tone was cool, calculated. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Activate the blackout protocol. Kane's words carried the weight of judgment. The command was given. Silent algorithms, coded with Earth's finest subterfuge, pulsed through the galactic network. Invisible tendrils of viral codes slithered into the Targoth systems, rewriting pathways, dismantling security grids, and severing communication lines. Initiating now. Alara's voice was steady, but Kane felt the anticipation crackling in the air. A moment of silence. Then, they're blind. Her eyes gleamed as the display shifted. Entire sectors dimmed, one after another. Power grids offline. Command centers dark. Kane's jaw clenched, his eyes narrowing. Perfect. The Targeth Collective was already crumbling from within. Kane's previous strikes had fractured their command structure, but now they wouldn't just collapse. They would implode. Status on mimetic insertion? Already spreading, Alara replied, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. Loyalty fractures detected. Commanders questioning orders. Soldiers, she tapped the interface. Turning on each other. Kane allowed himself a grim smile. Good. Across the galaxy, chaos unfolded like a silent storm. Targeth fleets, cut off from Central Command, floundered. Entire armadas drifted aimlessly, commanders unsure if they were following real orders or the whispers of Earth's viral agents. They're tearing themselves apart. Alara's tone was clinical, but there was an edge of dark satisfaction beneath it. Faster than projected. Fear's a powerful weapon. Kane's voice was barely above a murmur. And they're drowning in it. A chime echoed through the room. Kane's eyes flicked to the display, an incoming transmission. Patch it through. A hologram flickered to life. Commander Viral Thorn, the last surviving leader of the Targeth Collective. His scaled features were taut with barely contained rage, but Kane saw the fear in his eyes. You did this. Thorn's voice was a snarl, but the cracks in his confidence were obvious. You turned my fleets against me. No. Kane's tone was ice. You did that yourself. Thorn's jaw tightened, but Kane didn't give him a chance to speak. You attacked Ganymede, Kane said, voice dripping with quiet fury. You slaughtered 40,000 innocents. And for what? Thorn's scales shifted, his body language screaming discomfort. We were misled. Kane's smile was predatory. Misled? His tone hardened. You burned our people alive. And now you expect mercy? Thorn's throat bobbed. We didn't know. Kane's eyes were steel. Ignorance isn't an excuse. What do you want, Kane? Thorn's voice was laced with desperation. Kane's smile vanished. I don't want anything. His gaze was unrelenting. I'm here to make sure you don't get back up. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Your empire is gone, Thorn. Kane's tone was almost gentle. Your fleets? Ghosts. Your people? Turning on you? He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. And it's only going to get worse. Thorn's desperation cracked through. You don't have to do this. No, Kane said softly. But I'm going to. Thorn's hologram flickered. This won't end with the Targeth, he hissed, his voice trembling. There are forces you don't understand. Kane's eyes narrowed. What forces? Thorn's expression twisted, torn between anger and fear. You think this was all us? His voice was barely a whisper. We were just... The hologram distorted. Viral. Kane's tone was sharp. Who's pulling the strings? But Thorn was gone. The connection severed. Damn it. Kane's fist clenched. Trace that signal. Already on it. Alara's fingers flew across the console. But... Her eyes narrowed. It's bouncing through too many relays. Someone doesn't want us finding them. Kane's jaw tightened. They won't stay hidden for long. A new alert flashed across the display. Kane. Alara's voice was softer now, but there was a weight behind it. We've got movement. Where? Her gaze met his, and Kane saw the gravity in her eyes. Oblivion Nexus. Kane's blood went cold. You're sure? Positive. Kane's jaw clenched. That's where they're hiding. Oblivion Nexus. A shadow bastion, operating beyond the boundaries of known space. Untouchable. Invisible. Until now. Get me a strike team, Kane said, his voice low but filled with deadly intent. We end this. Alara's expression was fierce. Already assembling. Kane's eyes were hard, unyielding. No mistakes. No mistakes, Alara echoed, her voice a promise. Kane's gaze returned to the display, where the remains of the Targoth collective flickered in silent collapse. We're not done yet. His voice was a whisper, but it carried the weight of impending doom. Not even close. The room went quiet. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. When we're done, Kane's lips curled into a smile that sent chills down Alara's spine. They'll wish they never heard the name Earth. Oblivion Nexus. The words echoed in Major Damien Kane's mind as his shuttle sliced through the void. This wasn't just a shadow stronghold. It was where nightmares were born. Hidden beyond the edge of map space, it was a sanctuary for those who thrived on chaos. ETA 2 minutes. Alara Vasa's voice came through the comms, steady, but Kane could hear the tension beneath. Copy that, Kane murmured, eyes fixed ahead. Bring us in quiet. The strike team moved like ghosts. Blackout armor. Neural dampeners. Zero emissions. This place gives me bad vibes, Corporal Rourke muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. That's because it's where civilizations go to die, Kane replied without looking away. Stay sharp. You think Thorn was telling the truth? Rourke's question hung in the air. Kane's jaw clenched. He was too scared to lie. Viral Thorn hadn't just crumbled. He'd shattered. And in his final moments, he had hinted at something darker pulling the strings. Kane had seen fear before, but that was terror. We're not walking into a trap, Kane said softly, more to himself than the team. We are the trap. Silence. Then, approaching Nexus perimeter, Alara's voice was a whisper in his ear. Initiating cloaking protocol. No signals. No comms. Full blackout, Kane ordered. If they see us coming. They won't, Alara cut in. Not until it's too late. The shuttle slipped through the anomaly shielding Oblivion Nexus. Space warped and twisted, but Earth's tech was built for chaos. We're in. Kane's HUD flared to life. The complex was massive, a fortress of alien architecture fused with Terran tech. Kane didn't care about the aesthetics. He cared about the target. Alara, locate the core. Patching in now. Her fingers danced over the console. Got it. Central hub. Deepest level. How many guards? Too many, she replied, voice tight. But that won't be a problem. Kane's smile was cold. Not for us. Rourke. Kane's voice was a blade. Lead point. I want zero noise. Copy. Rourke's steps were silent, his team moving like shadows behind him. If Thorn was right, Alara murmured, her voice barely audible through the comms. This is where they engineered the virus. The one that turned Ganymede into ashes. Then we burn it down. Kane's voice was cold steel. Every trace. Every backup. I want this place erased. The team advanced, their movements seamless. No alarms. No resistance. Too quiet, Rourke muttered. Kane's gut agreed. They know we're here. Contact. South corridor. Rourke's voice was sharp. Engaging. Gunfire erupted, muffled suppressors keeping the chaos contained. The enemy was fast, enhanced. Augments, Rourke growled. Drop them. Kane's response was automatic. His rifle whispered death, precise shots dropping augmented enemies before they could react. Keep moving. Course straight ahead, Alara confirmed, her voice tight with urgency. They breached the inner sanctum, a chamber that pulsed with malevolent energy. Kane's eyes narrowed. This is it. The core was a living thing, a network of synthetic organic technology pulsing with data. Alara, purge it. On it. Her fingers danced, injecting viral payloads into the system. How long? A minute. You have 30 seconds. Kane's voice was stone. I'll do it in 20. Alara shot back, her focus absolute. Kane's eyes never left the shadows. Rourke, cover her. On it. But then, the air shifted. Incoming. Rourke's tone was sharp. They're not ordinary. The figures emerging from the shadows weren't Targeth. They weren't even fully biological. What the hell are those? Rourke's voice was tight. Kane's blood ran cold. Synthetics. Enhanced neural integration. Alara's voice echoed, shock lacing her words. There. Kill them. Kane's voice was a snarl. The strike team opened fire. Bullets punched into flesh and metal alike, but the enemy didn't falter. Fall back! Kane barked, taking position beside Alara. How long? Almost there. Not good enough. Kane's rifle emptied, but he didn't stop moving. A combat knife slid into his hand, and he met the first synthetic head-on. You don't get to walk away. The blade sank deep, twisting through cybernetic tissue. The synthetic collapsed, but two more took its place. Alara! Done! The core shuddered. Lights flickered. Virus deployed? Her voice was strained, but victorious. Good. Kane's grin was savage. Now let's blow this place to hell. Rourke, set charges. Already on it. Kane's knife danced through another enemy, but he felt it, the shift in the air. Kane! Alara's voice was tight. They're different. Kane's instinct screamed. Fall back! But it was too late. The remaining synthetics moved in unison, their neural links adapting, evolving. Damn it! Kane's mind raced. Detonate now! We're still inside! Rourke snapped. We won't be for long. Kane's jaw clenched. Blow it. Kane! Do it! Rourke didn't hesitate. The charges ignited, sending shockwaves through the core. Go! Kane's voice was thunder. The team sprinted as the complex collapsed behind them. Shuttles waiting. Alara panted, eyes locked on the exit. Move! They barely made it as the nexus imploded. Kane's breath came hard, but his eyes were sharp. Is it gone? Alara checked her interface. Purged. Kane's shoulders relaxed, but only slightly. Good. Silence hung in the shuttle as they drifted back into known space. That was too close. Rourke's voice was rough. Kane's gaze was distant, thoughts already racing ahead. We're not done. Alara's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Kane's expression was grim. That wasn't the end. His voice was cold, full of quiet certainty. It was just the beginning. This doesn't feel right. Alara Vasa's voice was quiet, but the weight behind her words was impossible to ignore. The shuttle drifted through the void, the embers of Oblivion Nexus still fading in the distance. But Kane's focus was razor-sharp, his mind already dissecting the aftermath. It's not over, Kane murmured, his tone devoid of relief. This was too easy. Easy? Rourke's laugh was bitter. We barely made it out alive. And they let us. Kane's eyes narrowed. We should have been shredded the second we breached that core. Alara's fingers tapped across her console, her eyes flicking back and forth. Something's wrong, she said softly. The core was too clean. No residual backups. No contingency systems. They didn't defend it because they didn't need to. Kane's voice was low, but the implication hit like a sledgehammer. Then what the hell was it? Rourke's grip on his rifle tightened. A distraction? Silence thickened. Kane's mind worked like a machine, piecing together fragments of a puzzle that shouldn't exist. Oblivion Nexus wasn't the endgame, Kane said, his voice colder than space. It was bait. Alara's eyes widened, her fingers freezing over the console. Bait for what? Us. A new alert pulsed through the shuttle, sharp and intrusive. Alara's fingers flew across the interface. Incoming transmission. Her breath hitched. Unknown origin. Patch it through, Kane ordered, his tone a blade. The hologram flickered to life, a figure shrouded in darkness. No species. No identity. Just a voice, dripping with malice. Major Kane. Kane's expression didn't change. You've got my attention. I should hope so, the voice replied, a sinister calm seeping through. You've been disruptive. And you're about to find out just how much worse I can be. But you already have, haven't you? The voice echoed, and Kane's blood ran cold. Ganymede. Such a tragedy. Kane's jaw clenched. You're the one who set it up. I merely facilitated. Why? Kane's tone was a dangerous whisper. Because chaos breeds opportunity, the voice replied smoothly. And Earth, for all its strength, is predictable in one thing. What's that? You respond with overwhelming force. Kane's heart hammered, but his face betrayed nothing. So this was all just to get us to burn the Targeth? The Targeth were expendable. Alara's hands froze mid-gesture, her eyes meeting Kane's with silent horror. You never cared about them. Kane's voice was pure steel. Of course not. Kane's mind raced. So what's the real target? The hologram flickered, and a new display filled the screen. Earth. Kane's breath caught. No. While you were busy dismantling a puppet empire, I was planting seeds. Alara's fingers flew across the console, her face draining of color. Kane! What am I looking at? Alara's voice was barely above a whisper. A viral infiltration. Explain. Her throat tightened. Earth's defense grid. It's been compromised. Kane's mind snapped into overdrive. How? They used the Nexus as a relay. Alara's voice shook. While we were focused on purging their system, they were infecting ours. How deep? Alara's hands trembled. Total control. Kane's blood ran cold. Shut it down. I can't. The voice returned, smug and dripping with triumph. By the time you realize what's happening, Major, Earth will already be. Say it, Kane growled. Gone. Rourke's eyes darkened. We need to get back. Now. It's too late, Alara whispered, her eyes wide with horror. They're in. No. Kane's jaw clenched, his mind racing through possibilities. There's always a way. Kane! Alara's voice was barely a breath. They've turned our own defenses against us. Not for long. Kane's eyes burned with raw determination. Patch me into Earth's grid. That's suicide, Rourke warned, but Kane's glare silenced him. Do it. Alara's hands moved, and the link opened. You're live. Kane's voice was a low growl. Earth Command, this is Major Kane. Major. The voice on the other end was strained, chaos echoing in the background. We've lost control of the defense grid. Not for long, Kane promised. Authorize manual override. Manual override? I'm taking direct control. Silence. Major, that's a kill switch. I know. Kane's voice was ice. Do it. Understood. The interface shifted. The defense grid's core protocols came online, a living organism infused with Terran ingenuity and brutality. Alara, Kane murmured. Get me into the neural core. You're plugging into the grid? Rourke's voice was tight. Kane, that's suicide. Not if I kill them first. Alara's voice was barely above a whisper. Link established. The neural link snapped into place. Kane's mind fused with the core, pain, raw data, chaos flooding his senses. You want to play games? Kane's voice was barely human, reverberating through the system. Let's play. The invader's viral tendrils were deep, but Kane's will was deeper. You don't own this system. His thoughts became commands, slashing through the infection with brutal precision. This is my world. The grid screamed as Kane's consciousness tore through it like a wildfire. Purge them. Firewalls collapsed. Viral fragments disintegrated. You thought you could control Earth? Kane's mental voice was pure wrath. You forgot whose blood runs through its veins. The core surged, and Kane unleashed everything. Burn! The enemy's grip shattered. Kane! Alara's voice echoed softly. You did it. Kane's mind snapped back to reality. His body sagged, but his eyes blazed with triumph. Status? Grid secure. And the virus? Gone. Silence filled the shuttle, but it was the silence before the storm. They're not done, Kane murmured, his voice a promise. And neither are we. Alara's gaze was steady. What's next? Kane's eyes were cold steel. We find them. And when we do? Kane's lips curled into a predator's smile. We don't leave survivors. The stars stretched out before them, but Kane's eyes were locked on a future written in fire. You wanted a war? His voice was barely above a whisper. Now you'll get one. And this time? Humanity wasn't playing defense.